Is there a warrant out for attempted murder yet? Pop, have you heard? Have you tapped in with Los Angeles County Police
I
down in
gotta look
England?
into it. I gotta look
There might
into
be
it.
a warrant. Cameron Cheeseman is trying to kill Truss Way. Pop, what's going on, man?
Son, how you doing?
Hanging in. I'm, as you guys can see, there's a few changes of plans here. If you kept up on the Twitter page, you saw things didn't quite go according to plan this week, but that is it's par for the course with this Washington team, huh? We
That's
just
right.
fell victim to it as well.
Pop carried the
Yeah,
diamond pop flag for us, though, at the game.
there you go. Yeah, Pop held it down for us. I was on IR. You guys can probably infer what happened there, given flu game Dami earlier in the week, and then I'm sitting in my bedroom now today. But Pop did make it to the game. The game went exactly how we thought it would, and then weirdly not how we thought it would, and then lots of craziness. So, I mean, let's just get right into it. It was a crazy game. I mean, the Rams go up 20-0. It was funny. I was texting my buddies. It was 13-0 at halftime. And I was texting my buddies, and I was like, I feel like they've played worse than us. And somehow they're 13-0. Like, it felt like the Rams left a lot on the table
They left a
in the
lot on the
first half.
table. They had a lot of opportunities that they should have been able to take advantage of, for sure.
And we did too. We got some turnovers. We got some stops. Our defense actually made a couple of plays, and we could just get absolutely jack squat going offensively. Today is a really bad day.
Had that one drive where we converted the fourth down, and then we tried to go for it again and couldn't do anything. And then it was a nice touchdown pass from Sam to Curtis, who's been balling.
Yeah, it was a good route by Curtis, a good scheme there. It worked out, but I mean, it's tough. Those are starting to just become fewer and further between the more we watch these games. But the big headline from today, you expected us to lose. You expected it to be pretty far out of reach. The big headline for today has got to be Jacobey Brisset comes in at quarterback and balled. He started spinning it. I mean, he came in, he threw for 2 touchdowns. He immediately just went Terry. Terry had a career high day in yards today, which was obviously 90% of that coming via Brisset in that fourth quarter. Ron says Sam is to start next week. Pop, what do you make of all of that?
Well, first, I guess maybe just I'll touch a little bit on this experience. I mean, SoFi is
please.
Absolutely awesome stadium. The video screen's incredible, but just the whole atmosphere and I'm very sorry you missed it, but it's just in a great setting and definitely the nicest stadium I've ever been to. I'd say the experience in watching the game, there's a lot of Commanders fans there. I mean, burgundy and gold as always showed out. And I think the spirit of the fans, stayed positive despite the fact that the game was going, pretty sour. I was high-fiving with the guy next to me as we were scoring and trying to make a comeback.
Oh, you had another Commanders fan nearby?
Yeah, there were a bunch of them.
That's great.
There was a lot of burgundy, so it definitely shows the sleeping giant that this team can be. But yeah, unfortunately, just the football team's not good enough. You said it. Just couldn't move the ball, couldn't score. Sam looked shook and just didn't play well from the very beginning. I'm not putting it all on him, but it's amazing how, when you're watching it, in the stadium, you do get a little bit bigger perspective and you're just wondering, are our guys just not getting open? How come he's not able to get the ball downfield? But he seemed to always just be hesitant. First, he never just seemed to drop back, set his feet, and throw the ball.
Yeah.
there was always a hesitation or, going through second, third progression. And then eventually, when he did make plays, it was because he was scrambling out of the pocket. But then you said it's interesting, right? Jacobey comes in and he's able to just start, um, throwing dimes and getting the ball downfield and getting the ball to Terry
Yeah.
almost immediately. And you could see that his vision in terms of, who was open and where they were open was much better at that point. Now, that happens pretty often when quarterbacks come off the bench. Um, and, even with Jacobey, that one last drive, we weren't able to finish, and other than burning off 3-4 minutes on the clock,
Oh,
which we'll get into, was awful.
I
But
don't know how
yeah,
much that's his fault.
it was tough to see. I was actually kind of like making an extra effort to look at Sam on the sidelines, and I hated to see that for him. But he hasn't been
Yeah.
playing well. We have to be honest. Like, you and I are as big as supporters. Earlier in the season for Sam has been out there, but he hasn't had a good stretch of games when he's needed it most. And
Yeah.
I think
And
it's unfortunate, and it is cause for concern.
it's
In terms
hard.
of him.
It's hard because, you look at his two best games and they're losses. Like and we know it's a team sport. But you look at, oh, we need a game where Sam plays like that, and you're looking at the game in Philly where we lost, or you're looking at the second game in Philly where we also lost, or you're looking at the game in maybe New England where he threw a terrible pick at the end of the first half. You're not expecting the guy to be perfect, but we've seen more regression than progression
Yeah, it's true.
in the last month, and
That's true.
seeing Jacoby come in and spin it like that was, I could care less about this season. I could care less about winning football games at this point. So I'm not one of those guys that's like Jacoby should have been started from the beginning, because we'd probably have the same. Maybe we have two more wins. We have the same record if Jacoby was starting from the beginning. He's not C.J. Stroud. He's not going to turn the franchise around. But it's a it's more damning of Howell and where his head was at today, and what was going on with him, and where he's been at recently, and a lot of those issues with holding the ball and second guessing. And you say he doesn't get shook and he's got this kind of quiet confidence about him, but in his play, a lot of uncertainty can manifest. And that's where going through those second, third reads, getting stuck on one guy, holding the ball too long, taking unnecessary sacks, some of that hero ball, even, it's where it comes from. And he's had the deck stacked against him. He's not in the best situation to thrive by any means. But when we talk about like the topics that we talked about last week, where we're talking about, okay, he's got 4 weeks, he's got this totally in his control. Either ball out and lose and make it, without a shadow of a doubt that you're the guy, the team just sucks, or win. Win some football games and put us in a position where we can't draft Jaden Daniels. We can't draft
Right.
Drake May. And now we're sitting here with the 17% chance at the second overall pick.
Yeah, I mean it, and again, we probably sound like two different guys, right? Because I think we were hyping Sam
Yeah.
up and as big supporters, and I'm not at a point where I'm willing to just throw away all the good things that we saw in Sam and what he's done well. But I would say there's much more doubt creeping in. I feel much closer to how I felt at this point last year, feeling like we just don't have our guy yet at
Yeah,
quarterback.
same.
And I hate that. But it's hard, to picture things getting much better. That those are three really good defenses left on the schedule. And he just does seem rattled. Maybe it's first time starting this many games in a season. College seasons are much shorter. Maybe there's a bit of fatigue, both mental and
I mean, he's
physical,
taken so
setting
many
in.
hits. I
He's
mean,
taken a bunch of hits. But today, yeah, there was pressure, but it didn't feel like the pressure was what it has been. It felt like he had some time to
Yeah,
throw. He made a little extra time with his legs. But it was that's what was troubling me. He just never felt settled. And I felt like our defense is bad. Let's be clear.
awful.
It's bad. But I think as our defense goes, the performance wasn't terrible today outside of the one big play to Cup, wasn't it? The long touchdown pass, wasn't it, to
Yeah,
Cooper Cup? Yeah.
which
But
was just oh
yeah, blown coverage again. And we know
yeah,
we're going to give up one of those. I mean, for a while, and even Rams fans sitting behind me, which were they were great guys, and I was kind of impressed with the vibe at the stadium too. It was a friendly
good.
competition more than anything else, right? Um, but they were saying the way we were playing defense is we were giving up more of the short game, and we were kind of protecting against that big play. But of course, we had to crack. But like I said, I think the defense, as our defensive performance goes, they give a bunch of yards, but they were kind of in that bend don't break mode, forced a couple of fumbles. You know, it we just needed, and they were just on the field all the time. The
Yep.
35, 36 minutes of possession for the Rams, right? So, um, yep. Anyway, I mean, it's tough. Still holding down that fourth pick in the draft. Next week's game is going to be big for draft position. Jets are one game behind us.
That's right. Yeah, that's gonna be a big one. That's gonna be a big one.
Maybe we should start my boy Jake Fromm.
Yeah, there you go. I think they might. Is it gonna be Rod? I guess we'll do a Jets pregame. We'll get into it then. But yeah, that's gonna be interesting. It's funny that
Rodgers
those
would be
work out that
insane
way.
to play.
Well, there
They're
are
they're
less accurate descriptors for Aaron Rodgers than insane, but
and
he's a wacky dude, man.
in honor
A
of Ron
wacky dude that
Rivera,
loves attention.
we can and have been eliminated from the playoffs this
Oh
season.
man, yeah, yeah. I wonder if anybody told him today that we could be eliminated if we lost that game. Oh, man, rough. 4-10. I mean, for me, Pop, I was texting you. It's just like I've put a silly amount of effort trying to figure out mentally if this is the worst Commanders team I've ever seen or Washington football team I've ever seen, including the Redskins years and everything. And you texted me back what I thought was perfectly poignant was you're just like, it's as bad as it gets. There's no point. There's no point in trying to compare it to the 3-13 Jay Gruden year because we're right there. We're just that bad. You can't, when you get so bad, it's futile for it to matter at that point. And we're absolutely in that Houston Texans of last year, Jacksonville Jaguars of a few years ago, Chicago Bears of last year, like just absolute pit of the NFL. Terrible. That's my optimistic take on the team. It's awful right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's bad as it gets in the NFL, and I think the thing that disturbs you, and I think it's why I think it's one of the worst for sure, is just a lack of
Yeah,
competitiveness. That's the thing that bothers me.
completely gone.
A lack of competitiveness. Yeah, I thought some players, and we are gonna give awards today. I
Why
made
not?
a decision. I thought there were some performances out there that were worthy. And
I'm
what
all
can
right
you
with that.
do when you're 4-10?
We brought it
Got
within
to
a
pick your
score.
battles.
We
Yeah,
brought it
we
within a
almost
score. At least
covered.
it wasn't, hey, we didn't give up 45 today.
Yeah, that's right.
Progress, right? But do you want to get into those awards, Pop?
Rams ain't the Dolphins either, but
No. Do you want to go to those awards, or you got anything else left to say? I know I interrupted you there a little bit.
no, I'm good.
Awards it up. All right. So
Let's get into the
awards.
awards.
Sauce Award got to go to Terry McLaurin. 6 catches for 141 and a touchdown, almost 2 touchdowns. He was just a little bit short on that last catch. The stud, man. Terry knows how to play
Yeah.
football. I'm all the idiots on Twitter talking about Terry doesn't know how to play anymore, or we should trade him, or this, that, or the other. He's washed. It's just idiots. It's kids. It's
He was
kids.
competing today.
Yeah, you could tell he was upset today, and he wanted to actually play. He was pissed off, and he was out of whatever funk
Yeah.
he'd been in for the last couple of games. So yeah, Terry, and there was some talk on the broadcast about how it's interesting. The commentators actually said he should be more like an AJ Brown type. That's going to get in your face and cuss you out when you're not getting the football, because he's clearly not getting the ball, and they need to be getting the ball to him. But it's just so he's such a high character dude that it's almost counterintuitive to his performance, because he's not taking people's heads off and demanding the ball the way that he should.
Right.
Which I don't disagree with. I think is maybe something he could split the difference on. But it can't be his
He
fault
came
either
out.
that he's not
He
getting the
came
ball
out on
for everything.
support. He came out in support of Sam after the game, which I thought was pretty good of
Yeah,
him,
it's
pretty classy.
as expected from Terry,
Yeah.
right? Helmet stickers. We're gonna give one to Curtis Samuel, 5 for 41, 2 touchdowns. Been our most consistent wide receiver on the year for sure. Khaleke Hudson, Pop wants to give one to as well. 14 tackles. He got his name called a couple times. Tackle for loss. Looked like a better linebacker than the other guy we've had out there that is out for the rest of the year and was a first-round draft pick. Anyways, number 3, Deron Payne, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 3 quarterback hits. Was good to see him get his name called again, and he was saw him line up on the edge for one play there. I wonder what that
Well,
was,
one
but
of his
absolutely
sacks, and he absolutely
dominant out there.
destroyed. Yeah.
He looked
And
dominant.
and I was like, I always would have thought that Allen would have been more likely to be. In fact, I've wondered why they haven't tried that more. It's because they seem to have more depth, especially after the trades, in the interior of the D line.
Definitely, yeah.
But yeah, and it was great to see the versatility and maybe even seeing Ron mix things up a
Yeah.
bit in
Some
his
signs of life, right?
last few weeks as a coach in the NFL. But
Yeah. Well, at
but
least
yeah,
for us.
no, Duran, had the one sack was awesome, and I think if you look at it, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 3 quarterback hits. I mean, on anybody's stat sheet, that's a pretty dominant day.
Pretty good day.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah,
like you said, ironically today, I mean, the defense, like you said, is not good. And we had that one blown play to cut, which was terrible. But at a certain point, you just got absolutely no help from the offense when it mattered. And you wonder, like, if we could have just put up 7, you got that minute and 8 seconds going into the second half, we're down 10-0. And we get a quick 3 and out punt, they get 3. They go up 13-0. But we put up 7 in that little 2-minute drill. You wonder if maybe we had a chance, maybe the defense doesn't have to be under the gun as much, whatever. But doesn't happen. We lose. In the grand scheme of things, it's probably better for the team, as much as it's not fun for us as fans, and especially for Pop, who came all the way across the country to watch the team in person. But yeah,
no, I think you're right. I
tough
think
loss
you're right.
there.
I think if the offense, even as an average performance, like you said, the Rams were kind of keeping us in the game. There was some of them keeping us in the game, some of the defense, making some plays.
Yeah,
And, you saw the team rally towards the end. I mean, I think we're going to get into the kick cots, but, we were still in it. I mean,
yeah,
miraculously,
kick
we were
off.
still in it until we started deciding to burn clock from the
Yeah,
1 yard line. And, anyway, why don't you break it down for the people and then I'll comment.
yeah, we got a dual kick hot to the game for the first time this week.
Oh, man.
How's that for you? How's that for you?
Uh,
The doppio,
I
the
can't.
double kick hots.
If you wonder why I'm laughing, just Google it, people.
Oh man.
Uh,
So first one has got to be burning 3+ minutes on the goal line at the end of the game. I mean, Eric Bieniemy just all year insists he doesn't know what an I formation is. He doesn't know what going under center is. He doesn't know what single back is. None of that. No, shotgun in short yard situations. And then all of a sudden, Eric Bieniemy comes out in the I formation like it's 1963 with the game on the line.
I mean, you're down
Without
2
Brian
touchdowns. You
Robinson.
can't afford to burn clock. And maybe you try it once.
I don't
Right?
hate trying it once.
I hate trying it once. I think clock management. At that point, if you're throwing the ball, you're burning 6-7 seconds off the clock.
But
And
at that point,
you can also you got a veteran quarterback in the game at that point in Brisset, right? Don't throw it into danger. You got 4 shots at
yeah,
this thing. But you've got to be thinking you're down 2 touchdowns. You got to be thinking clock as much as anything else. And all of a
and
sudden,
yeah,
like you said, we've become a running team. The
I don't
coaching is
hate going
bad,
for it.
man. The coaching is
Yeah,
bad.
it's awful. I'm
It's
totally
just
sold
bad.
on EB. Totally sold on EB. Not even a conversation at this point. Because clearly there's some kind of disconnect if your young quarterback can't do what Brissett was doing in that game. There's something that's not clicking
Well, I
across the
mean,
team,
Brissett
and that
coming
that
in and
comes down to
performing
him.
is kind of evidence of there's always that debate. Is it Sam or is it EB? But that sequence of play calls at that moment
Yeah,
was about as bad
hideous,
as it can get. And
hideous, and just
not to mention
horribly managed.
you do it once, you get a penalty call, pass interference call. I think was that on 4th down? So
Yeah,
we get to reset the
we got 4
downs,
more.
and you do it again. Like
And we got pushed
it's
backwards every time.
it's it's
Man, at a certain point,
it,
Aaron Donald is on the other side of the line. You're not going to outpush Aaron Donald. And Tyler Larson was out, and Charles Leno was out. So you're missing 2 of your starting linemen at this point in the game, trying to outpush Aaron Donald. And now our backup linemen might be better than our starters, different conversation. But there's no logic to what's happening there. So that was ridiculous. I mean, we were down there,
no.
goal to go with a yard with 4 minutes and 37 seconds. You don't have to go tempo at that point, but throw the ball 3 times. Come on. What are we doing? And if you want to line up an I form, do it once and then maybe do like a fake on the second one. Fine.
Yeah, play action.
But yeah, but just terrible. Or even just run a stretch. Just right at Aaron Donald. Anyways, just total mess there. Um, and then speaking of total mess, do we is there a warrant out for attempted murder yet? Pop, have you heard? Have you tapped in with Los Angeles County Police
I
down in
gotta look
England?
into it. We gotta look
There might
into
be
it.
a warrant. Cameron Cheeseman is trying to kill Truss Way. He's trying to get him killed. And he's trying to kill Joey Sly, too. He was rolling the ball back there. I mean, that was like when you let your nephew snap the ball on the Turkey Bowl. I mean, he was just rolling
That's
it
good.
back
I
to
was
the.
gonna ask. You've been dying for a tryout. How's your long scapping skills?
I could do better than that. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Put me in tomorrow.
All right,
In my current state.
you're coming home in a few days. Hopefully, you're on an all pasta and Dami cutlets diet.
I'll take a vet minimum. I'll take a vet minimum to go out there. I'll run a few couple 2-a-days.
Brutal.
I mean, it's just horrible. I mean, he's snapping the ball like he's trying to trim the grass on the way back. Like he just completely it was just
Well,
terrible. Led to the
well,
missed extra point. Led to Tress almost getting killed back there.
but this says
Awful.
everything. I don't know if you caught this. You probably didn't. So just take this in and you get your live reaction to it.
Bringing it
Cameron
in.
Cheeseman afterwards was interviewed in the locker room, and he said something to the effect that, of course, is he worried about his job? He said, "Of course, I'm worried about my job. I've been worried about my job all season. I would have been cut from most teams in this league already.
Yep. Ron
You saw
Rivera,
that?
ladies and gentlemen.
Traded up for a long snapper.
Kikats. I mean, that's the phrase Kikats was invented for these kind of situations. There's nothing you can do about it. I mean, just absolutely.
No place else can you go and get a Doppio Kikats.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what, Pop. We were entertained today. That much is for sure. We were entertained today.
It was painful. I tell you, it got a little better in the second half, but sitting there at 20-0 was, it was totally believable, but unbelievable at the same time.
You never expect it's going to be that bad.
You always have a little bit of hope.
Yeah. But it always is that bad this year, unfortunately. But, hey, that's about it for Commanders Talk today. I think we'll do a little quick around the NFL wrap up. We got a couple notable scores here today. The Bills absolutely steamrolled the Cowboys. My Uncle Nick had a few choice words about the Cowboys there.
I called it.
Pop called it. I can't remember what happened on the bottom, but we'll get into that next week. 49ers.
I think you picked the Cowboys.
It's possible. I don't remember. 49ers continuing to roll. Pop, famously said they were falling off, probably not even going to make the playoffs a few weeks ago. So they're
I don't remember that.
Points. I think they're just fine. Brock Purdy is a good quarterback. Enough with the system nonsense. The league clearly has not caught up to him. He's a good player in a very good system, but he's a good player. Tommy D came back to earth today. Saints beat the Giants 24-6, and that's the notable roundup.
I think I called that one too.
Are you rooting against an Italian? That's a you problem, Pop.
Not rooting against.
Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me.
He got sacked 7 times today. Wow.
Those are rookie numbers in this racket. Those are rookie numbers around here, man. You got to pump those numbers up. That's nothing. But, yeah, it's tough. I mean, the Giants suck. But, yeah, the tank is on. We're just see where it goes next week, and
we could really ruin the tank with a win next week. There's a lot of teams sitting at 5-9.
I was looking at that. I was looking at Tankathon last night, and it is a lot. And our strength of schedule is good. It's very high. So if we're in a tiebreaker situation, we could fall out of the top 10.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, what an absolute Washington move that would be. Get a moral victory, Ron Rivera popping champagne, and we're out of the top 10. Oh, that would be great. That would be great. Then we can draft a wide receiver. Be perfect. Let's wrap this thing up, Pop. What do you say?
Let's do it.
All right. Without further ado, I've been Dom.
This is Pop.
And thanks for another great week, guys.